Next, I wanted to go to just a simple one that I think a lot of you guys are going to be asking, and this is about mowing tall versus short and how it looks in the neighborhood. This is Brian in New Jersey.
Hey, Alan, this is Brian in Harrington Park, New Jersey. I have an interesting situation where I'm the only one on the block mowing tall, and so comparatively, I look a little unkempt next to my other neighbors who have their lawns mowed really short and they're green and look nice. So just curious what your thoughts are about that, and thanks so much. Appreciate it.
This is a great question, Brian, and I tell you, I get this one every so often, and so it's worth exploring for sure. Personally, with cool season turf, I think that the taller mowed lawn, if it's mowed and manicured and kept standing up nice and tall, I think that looks better. Now, it won't look better next to a lawn that's real mowed. I know people think that I'm against real mowing, and I'm against real mowing of my St. Augustine grass for obvious reasons. I think real mowing is awesome, and I will be the first to admit that a tightly trimmed real mowed lawn will dominate every lawn in every neighborhood. It just will. It's just how it works. It just has a certain look to it that is so tight and so just I don't know. It's just going to do that. But I don't think that people in your neighborhood are all real mowing. I think they're probably all just mowing lower than you. So the first thing I would say, Brian, is maybe you're mowing a little bit too tall. It does come to the fact that mowing too tall, and I don't know what mower you're using or whatever, the grass can get a little floppy. It can get a little wavy. It can kind of sit down or lay down a little bit. And by the way, if that's happening, that's a problem overall. Too much nitrogen can cause that. There's a lot of other reasons for that to happen. But if your lawn is laying over and wavy, I would consider what's going on there and definitely cut a little lower. So the first thing I would say is to mow to the point where your lawn stands up tall and stout and proud. If it's getting wavy or leany or bendy at all at the top, then definitely you want to take it down a little bit. The second thing I would say, though, is when you have a tall mowed lawn, and I had turf-type tall fescue up Northwest Indiana that I mowed taller than everybody around me for sure. The other thing, though, that you want to do when you have a tall mowed lawn is you want to have a super tight edge around every sidewalk. I don't think there is anything better than a super tight, tall, standing proud edge and a flat, well-cut, tall lawn. It's like this chunk. It's like fat stacks. And that's one of the advantages to St. Augustine grass. If you look at mine, it stacks up so tall on an edge. Well, it can get too tall after a while, but it stacks up tall, boy. And you get in there with that nice blade edger, and it's like a wall. Literally, I mean, you feel like someone parted the Red Sea when you're walking down the sidewalk because of how tall those edges stand up. And then you give it a nice tall mow, and so you have this just walls, man. And I love that. I don't think anything can dominate that. So besides maybe a nice real cut mower lawn. So I would do that, Brian. I would wonder, are you edging tight? Maybe you can make yours stand a cut above just by that tight edge. And definitely if your neighbor's adjacent to you, and I don't know what kind of sidewalk situation you got going on or curbs and gutters, but definitely one of the easiest and quickest ways to dominate neighbors just next to you is if they don't edge tight and their grass is growing out into the sidewalk, and then you've got a tall, tight edge. I mean, it immediately stands out. Now, if that's still not the case, if you're like, no, Alan, these people all just have really nice lawns that they just mow low, well, then I would say you just figure out what do you need to do to make yours look good or better in your mind. I mean, I always tell you guys, mow tall, mow tall, mow tall. But when you get more advanced, like obviously Brian is, because he's noticing, you have to understand when somebody is noticing or asking a question like this, he is definitely starting to be observant. He's probably doing like me, riding his bike around the neighborhood. You guys do that? I ride my bike around the neighborhood because I want the exercise, I want the fresh air for sure, but really I'm just spying on the competition, right? I'm seeing who's coming along, who's suffering, and sometimes if I see a lawn that was super nice and now all of a sudden there's a heat wave and it's not nice and it's struggling, I might give it a little chuckle and be like, too bad for you, buddy. No, I don't really do that. I know you do, though. But the idea being, go out and look. He's going out and he's looking and he's seeing, hey, I don't know, man. I think my domination might be a little low here. So definitely telling me that Brian is more advanced. He's thinking through things. So Brian, I would say, where do you need to go then, man? Can you keep your lawn healthy at 2 inches? Then I say you do that. And it's very possible. I always mention all these guys that real mow all the time. There's a bunch of them online. These guys are keeping super healthy lawns at like 5/8 of an inch. So definitely you could keep a healthy lawn at 2 inches or 1 inch or 3. I say sky's the limit for you. Go where you need to go. Take that lawn to the depth that you need to take it to in order to dominate in your own situation. Don't get tied around the fact that I say keep it at 4. Even though I'm going to tell all the beginners, keep your lawn at 4. Mow tall for all the beginners. But once you get past that stage and you're really in a battle like you are, I can feel, Brian, that you're locked in this battle, then I would say definitely go ahead and try to mow a little bit lower to try to dominate.